Sit, turn type, sit. Good boy. Ruff.
Is another hot summer day, ladies and gentlemen, where if you hear our air conditioners, that means they work properly. Pretty much.
Pretty much.
Even in this location in my house, if you hear it, that means it's working properly. And now, over the years, my mom has been used to getting air conditioners through the windows. So this time, we actually got one of those mobile air conditioners where you just have a little opening in the window. I swear, it made my mom feel like she's like finally with the times or something. I don't know. You should see her face light up as soon as this thing turned on perfectly.
No, the ones that are out now that I would have gotten if I was in your predicament is the ones that you add water. It's you put 4 gallons of water in it, and it blows off amazingly cool air.
Really?
Yeah. You could even ramp it up a notch and put like ice in it, and it'll just make it even better. But yeah, it's about 4.5 gallons of water you place in it. I'll send you the link on it. It looks and it's not that expensive either.
Well, the other new style we saw was the air conditioners that drip all the way down lower to where it usually is, and you can close the window fully on them.
Right.
But just with the way my window is shaped, with the ledge on it, there's no way that we were able to get that. So
yeah, and that I saw that one before. That's a little bit more expensive too, but yeah. The next time, turn that AC. It's a doozy.
Where do you usually go for like stuff like that? Because we went to Home Depot first. We pretty much got the first good deals. But usually, like it's Walmart or PC Richards and
yeah. Walmart usually have it. Amazon usually have it. Definitely.
What do you prefer?
I usually the worst thing that was ever bestowed to me was giving me an Amazon gift, a fucking credit card. Once I got one of those, it was a wrap. Like everything is just Amazon friendly. I as much as I know how much it destroys mom and pop stores, but shit, it does wonders for me. Fuck it.
Yeah, I mean, we gotta do what we gotta do at this time, but
especially this heat. Oh, please, it has to be done with already.
I mean, we're middle of July already. We've got one more month technically.
Please don't even get me started. I'm trying to enjoy the fruits of my vacation time. So
I was about to bring it up that you're going away soon.
Yeah, that was that. I woke up to a fucking rude awakening. I had my airlines canceled my flight and had to change my time. So I'm pretty much going to be missing most of the day of where I'm going. So it just annoyed me. I'm just like, I'm so over it. Yeah, but other than that, it's going to be great.
It's going to be interesting if it's hotter there or here.
Oh, please don't even get me started on that. As long as I'm going to be somewhere close near water, I'll be fine.
And I recently brought up to you where my dad has now asked to see some of the show that we can reduce, and he has very interesting criticism where he said you need to stop yawning. But if anybody
me or you,
me, this is all on me. He doesn't care about anybody else, but because he just sees me like yawn sometimes. But it's like I usually do that because I mute myself because I'm always congested too, and I don't want to like fucking hack fucking whatever the hell I have
Right.
in me, and it's a nervous twitch too. Because when I'm on this show and I don't speak, I don't know what to do with myself.
You don't know how to just sit and listen.
No, I am horrible, everybody, with that. So, like right now, sometimes I just need to move my body around or do something. But I don't
Yawning
know.
helps. Got it. Now I
Not
know.
not not yawning. And it's never a
Got
full
it.
on yawn. It's always like doing this, so like stroking my fucking big boss like beard or whatever the fuck that I don't have.
I often what I do is I'll just put my head down, or I'll like look, see if I'm looking for something, because at least if I look as though if I'm looking for something, it would be like I'm bringing content to the show. Or I'll just just nod your head. Sometimes nodding your head works. Like, oh yeah. But yes, guys, I do listen when people speak. I'm not ignoring you. I have been
Right.
gifted with the propriety to know how to multitask.
I know he's being very rude. He just has his head down, not acknowledging or shaking his
No, I'll
head.
tell you, sometimes I'm looking up content and it just seems like I'm texting somebody and I'm like, no, I'm just trying to look for more information to bring to the conversation. But I don't know. Fuck it. Whatever works, right?
Right.
It's true. It's really, really true.
Oh, I see what you did there. So
Ah! Aha!
we're here for a reason, which is another episode of History and Headlocks. My name is Home Mike, and there he is on the screen. And I thought I was bad, but you just fucking jumped the gun. But for everybody that's not used to my co-host here, who is not the redheaded on the art, that's Jay the Red Santy from Turnbuckle Tabloid.
Yeah,
The per-
I'm just filling the road for the day. I don't have such beauty and such charm as the hostess Ariana does.
yeah, she will be back. She'll be back soon to the show. So she's taking some time for herself. Been dealing with a lot of stuff recently. Well, she's dealing with the weather badly herself. So
Listen, you got to do what you got to do. Don't worry. I'm not one of those to sit there and say that I have to. I'll be the whipping boy. Make sure you guys gotta put in the work. It's whatever time is available that you got.
and Jay filled in for me for one episode, and now he fills in for Ari on this episode.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Fun times.
This episode, we are going to cover the Olympic gold medalist Kurt Angle, his career from his humble beginnings in the Olympics, and we'll talk about a lot of dark stuff about his career because unfortunately he's one of those people that have does have that about his run. But we'll talk about the positives and the pretty much a lot of good positives where the entire nation was behind him, was on his back, and he did it for all of us back in 1996 with a broken freaking neck.
With a broken freaking neck.
So Jay, you are. I'm just gonna say you're the older of the two of us, but
All right. I get it. I'm the elder statesman of the bunch. I get it. I get it.
can you give me some background or tell me how much hype was there around '96 when he was competing for the medal?
Well, first of all, we got to think about with Kurt. Kurt was like out of the blue to be recognized as a legitimate wrestler at the time. Coming out of Pennsylvania and stuff, he's been very associated with the Pittsburgh area and such. But yeah, he came out with his amateur career. He was he was regarded in high school. He was he had varsity letters and such. He also played a little football. Remember in the last episode we were talking about that as well. Um, that a lot of these guys they transition, and he was able to transition even quicker into amateur wrestling. Uh, like I said, very quiet, low key, early days in high school, and it wasn't until he made it to Clarion University in Pennsylvania where he excelled, being a two-time national collegiate champion, runner-up in '91. Three-time NCAA champ, and as well as being a junior freestyle. And yeah, he slowly but surely he was building his way up in the ranks of amateur wrestling.
So how did he get a lot of notoriety when he was in the Olympics for '96? Like, was there a lot of press around him? Like, was it made a big deal for him to go for the gold?
Well, from what I remember, he really was like a underdog kind of guy with the team. He was one of those that made the team, but it wasn't by it wasn't as though he was a clear cut member for the team, especially with the trainer he had at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Dave Schultz was known to be like a real uh he was a real ball breaker, plus he had his own issues and shit. But I believe they actually did a movie about him too.
Yes.
Um and he became training as such, and then it became more of a hardship because he started uh, gaining injuries. With the broken freaking neck thing. Uh,
Mm.
he actually got it during the Olympic trials. That's when it happened in '96. Didn't happen during the Olympics. He
Right.
had a cervical vertebrae and herniated disc and such. But after he won the trials, he he got into the Olympics and was able to get through it by injections with pain medications, which probably was going to open a door for what happens to him down the line.
Yeah, I was about to say, like, there's no way, like, in modern Olympics, like, if somebody were to break something, they're one and done. Like, there's no injections. There's no here. Let's give you this to get you back out there. It's
Right.
I mean, was it always like that back in the day, where it was just like, here, let me give you this, or and just get you back out there? Like how often was this back in like this is like '96 we're talking too?
Well, yeah, this is par for the course whenever it came to injuries. Many people uh, through the years fought through their pain and such with injuries, through injuries with meds, and that was a go-to. Hell, professional sports live through it, especially with football.
Mm,
You tweaked an ankle, numb it up, go back out there. It's not it wasn't uncommon for that to happen, and in Angle's case, it was almost though that he was going to be pretty much dependent on it during this run.
right. I mean, I mean, look at this picture. Would you really think anything is wrong with him?
And look,
Just
it's funny. He looks like Chad Gable a little bit in this picture. He no, you wouldn't think so, but he was going through some injuries. Herniated disc, pulled muscles, and when he actually won. It was like I believe it was 5 matches. They weren't like clear cut wins, but he won 5 matches during that stretch in the Olympics, and he pretty much was fighting through pain during those matches.
and as we all know, today he did win the Olympic gold. His opponent, I think, it was correct me if I'm wrong. Was it actually Sylvester Terkay that later on would be in WWE? Or was it
I
somebody else?
No, it was someone else, but
Well,
I believe
I
I
think I
believe
misheard them.
he was in that I believe he was in that Olympics as well.
No, I think like he was like in his weight class, or like he was with his like sparring partners maybe.
Right.
'Cause I always heard like that weird name from 2006 that popped up, but I think it was him and somebody from Russia.
Yes.
Right.
It was no, he was from the Ukraine actually.
And he was significantly bigger than them, correct?
Yes, yes. Mind you, they were wrestling at the catch weight was I believe at 198 to 220. So, you know,
Mm.
he might have came in on the lighter side, but he was able to take down the bigger man.
Right. So then, let me ask you this: so when after he wins, how much of the media is he doing? Is he everywhere? Is he on the late night show? Like how much? How much of you did you actually see of Kurt Angle afterwards?
Not much because immediately I believe that he was already going to get scouted by the indies and the
Mm.
wrestling circuit. we know early on that ECW had a high interest with him. We'll get to that in a second, but yeah, he immediately had become a darling in the wrestling circuit. It wasn't really celebrity wise, but it was more in the wrestling circuit.
Because I know, like he said, he like afterwards they made or at least like he tried to be like a sportsman for his local
Right.
um, news station. He also tried other things as well. But I think, funny enough, the next time we get to see the Olympic gold medalist was in the Land of Extreme, and I think it's because him and Taz were close friends, or like they knew each other from.
They had they had a history from doing on freestyle wrestling matches and such.
Right. So then he takes up on the invitation to go to the ECW arena and go to the show, and I think they kind of spurred on him to come out into the crowd because it was one of those things where Joey Styles said, "Like, ladies and gentlemen, now joining us now is the Olympic gold medalist Kurt Angle." Comes out. ECW, I will say, watching the clip back over and over again, very respectful.
Yeah,
Like they weren't like the whole smart mark like, hey boo, like get the fuck, like they were very like, oh, like welcome, like please join us type of thing.
well, to be fair, he was raised Christian as well, so they knew of that background. So
True.
so they
But
pretty much
like,
knew
but
how to.
most of the gimmicks though, like the cookie clean cutters, like they want to look at him and be like, oh, get the fuck out of here.
Yeah. No, they
But
weren't doing that.
but he comes out, Taz confronts him, kind of makes a vague challenge. I think like maybe ECW was maybe thinking of doing Taz and Kurt Angle on pay per view
Right.
in a freestyle match, but we would never know what would happen with that because this is the same show where, like you mentioned, Kurt Angle was a born Christian. This was the night that they decided to hang the Sandman on a cross in front of everybody.
Yeah, I think someone may have dropped the ball on that one. They
Mm-hmm.
pretty much had an idea of where they were gonna go um with that storyline, and they didn't yeah, they didn't prepare for the fact that he was going to be in the building.
Right.
And they
Or
went
at least get the reaction that they were, which is funny enough. You're thinking like, oh, what's the worst that could happen?
right.
He goes backstage and tells him, if I see any of like of me on your episode, you'll be here from my lawyer. And he was scrubbed out of the episode. Maybe I think they put him on the episode before and I separated, but there was no trace of him on the ECW episode with the crucifixion of the Sandman.
Yeah, didn't go over very well, and that was in '96.
Yeah.
Kurt walked away, had to, I guess, reconsider what was going to be the next move because it wasn't until I believe late '97, '98 when WWE came calling.
Wow. I think WCW did the same too.
Right.
But just look
Uh,
at this. I mean, listen, whatever people believe these days, Kurt Angle had his beliefs. And he took one look at this and said, "Nope, not gonna deal with this nonsense going forward for the rest of my life."
Yeah, it was said that he really didn't he really didn't think that wrestling was gonna be his his next career, but it wasn't until he saw an episode of Raw with Stone Cold on it that changed his mind about what the business was gonna be like.
Of course, and it's funny enough when he says later, he goes, when I got into wrestling, I wanted to be you." Like he's telling Stone Cold this, like, but it's also like everybody can't be Stone Cold, so. So then when Kurt Angle, I also want to mention too for the ECW thing that they had Raven go out there and Tommy Jimmy said it's the most half-assed apology he's ever heard in his life.
Right.
Which if you look back and hear, it's very first. Like if I offended you, I'm sorry. And I think it's also one that made a crack where it's like, well, what if you hung him on the Jewish symbol, and they said that he fucking roll out the building.
Right.
Which is also like, oh, like, okay. that's very thoughtful, or like, you do better. But Kurt Angle starts training '98 with the WWF and takes to it like water. He knows what he's doing. And funny enough, when they talk about his early training, he was doing like 450s easily. And I think I think Vince pulled him to the side and said, "I do not want you doing that. If you can do it, do it. But that's not what I want you doing when I put you on TV."
Right.
So Vince pretty much had a clear idea of what the character was going to be. So then he goes to Memphis. His training goes along very well over there. And then by the summer, fall, we start getting vignettes in 1999 of Kurt Angle, with no name change, which I think at that time nobody was really expecting that, or like, say, okay, it's the big old medal winner, and the most real athlete, the most real athlete to come to the WWF. Where I need to ask you, where your thoughts on that? Where some of the boys would hear that, go, "Wait, what is he?"
Yeah. To think when he first debuted, they really wanted him to be like this cookie cutter Boy Scout kind of wrestler face and such. But yeah, that the crowd wasn't taking to that so easily. They really didn't want that kind of run. Mind you, he had a strong undefeated streak as well. Um, when he debuted, didn't have a long one, but it was he clearly had the talent. Didn't have long matches. Had him in like 5 minute matches, doing quick
Mm-hmm.
work of guys. Until losing the Taz at the Royal Rumble.
Yeah.
But yeah, the crowd knew what was going to be the quintessential Kurt Angle that we will see from here on out.
Did they though? Because when he first popped up, like you said, cookie cleaner, like Boy Scout looking, and he would do his wrestling, and then like at the Survivor Series pay per view, which was his debut, the same night
Right.
that Stone Cold gets run over. Here comes a new star, and in the middle of the match, Vince tells Mike Chioda to tell him, grab the mic and tell him you do not boo an Olympic gold medalist.
Yeah, but
So he goes out and he does that, and then the fans actually react. And then
yeah he
Jerry
was
kind
getting
of,
booze beforehand.
right, but well, this was his first televised appearance, where
Yeah.
even Jerry Law, who's like pro heel, was like I don't know about this kid. And then when he goes out and he says, like, "You do not boo Olympic gold medals," Jerry's like, "Yeah, you know what? Yeah, you're right. You don't do that. Go, Kurt." It was like
Yeah,
one of those weird things.
but like I said, he took it like you mentioned, took it like a duck to water, and he was a natural talent in there.
And early on, every before every match, he cut a promo, and it was always stuff that Vince would repeat to him, and he had the thing with Kurt was a lot of the stuff was not off the cuff. Like if
No.
like where like if like I know you, where if you're in a city and you know what buttons to push, like that city's gonna be in a fucking riot. Where Kurt would come out and say like, "Oh, you bash your local sports teams." He's like, "Now I'm about to wrestle a pimp, about to wrestle a porn star, about to like I'm about to wrestle a freaking vampire." Like it'd just be so silly from the word go. And then you mentioned it. They gave this man an undefeated streak, where every chance, every person he was in the ring with, he beat them. I mean, he beat them. Women weren't safe either. Angle had Mae Young, who was pregnant, but that's a different story. But I mean, like early on, no real feuds to set off, but he was winning. He won the European title. He won the Intercontinental title. It's funny because he goes, "I'm the best Intercontinental champion since D'Lo Brown," and we know how all that went.
Yeah, he had two titles. He won two titles in February of that year,
Right.
and he um pretty much solidified that he was going to be a star in the company. They pretty much let it be known that he was going to make his way through the ranks of that roster.
Right. I mean, and when you brought the Taz thing, where like he technically lost, but he lost by by the transmission.
Right.
But then he's like, wait, that's a legal chokehold. So my undefeated streak's still intact.
Yeah,
He
yeah,
was that
right.
type of asshole heel where like the fans are kids like, oh come on. But then random Raw leading up to WrestleMania, they just had The Rock beat him, which back in the day is like one of those Vince choices where, and right now it's not gonna hurt, but I guess that was pretty much the kibosh on the whole undefeated streak. But I need. Do you have any memory of them putting Bob Backlund with him leading into WrestleMania that year? His first WrestleMania.
No, I don't. I don't remember that.
They put Backlund with him because for pro USA.
Right, right,
Because I think Backlund was um, running for Senate in Connecticut, I think. But it was
right.
like one of those random pairings where they felt the need to put Kurt, somebody with Kurt as a mouthpiece, I guess. But like looking that up, like it didn't last for long, but it was like one of those random things that Kurt Angle had. Like, oh, because then he started doing the crossface chicken wing. Didn't last long. He lost both belts to WrestleMania to Jericho and Benoit,
Mm.
and then lost to the Big Show. And then it was like, okay, now what? Because Kurt's on the roster, but now let's utilize his comedy ability. What are your thoughts on Team Eck of Edge, Christian, and Kurt Angle?
Oh, they. It was the hokiest shit to see, but it went to show that he had the personality, and it was um pretty much the early days of thinking of a wrestler that was just cheesy and just doing natural heat to get natural heat. But the fact that he could laugh at himself and be the goof. You mentioned him doing promos. He had to go to Vince to tell him like in detail, like what is it that exactly what you want me to say, because he wasn't going to be able to go out there and cut one off the cup, but you know Vince had to give it to him verbatim, and he was like, okay Vince, because he had to remember it verbatim, and he because he just couldn't get it yet. Later on, he learned how to start
And
cutting promos on his
remember,
own.
I remember because Vince would be okay. I'm going to say this once, so
Right.
you better fucking listen.
Right.
So, and Kurt's like, listen, I'm sorry, but can you repeat that? And Vince would just be like, oh, for fuck. And that's one of those crazy things because it's like he repeat that, and then he'd go out and do it word for word, and nothing off the cuff or made or everything Vince, all Vince dialogue. So, and then we'll talk about the Team X stuff. I mean, the jug band stuff is probably the most legendary thing that the trio did,
Right.
where all put fake teeth in with the hats on, uh, playing with the spoon, playing with the jugs. But was that one of the things? Because I looking back to where the observers, where people had complaints about, where it's like they have an Olympic gold medalist go out there and do this stupid shit,
Right.
and when it's like people counter arguments like it's sports entertainment or it's supposed to like they're all characters. He's playing a character on TV where he's like being silly. Like,
Yeah,
like
I think it leaned a little bit more to being that still American bread, white bread, clean cut, just being the fool of in innocence that worked for him more than anything else.
because I think too it's like where people see Chad Gable and they see a lot of Kurt Angle and Chad Gable where the comedy sometimes hits or miss, but it's also for a thing too where I don't know, like they just have this hard way of detaching like their real life accomplishments with who they are on TV. Like that's always one of those things when I look back where it's like it's not just him, like Chad Gable as well, like where like they have to like make themselves seem silly or seem incompetent just for a brief second, but that's not really like who they are on TV.
Well, yeah, because when you think about it, you think about even regardless of how goofy he was, he still had an intensity with him, which is part of the three eyes. Remember, we were not going to forget about the three eyes. Um,
Right.
he still had that pit bull kind of attitude and that way of going in the ring and showing that he could be dangerous as well. So, and that was the kind of uh, look that Vince wanted for him as well. He wanted it to be that he's a clown, he's goofy, he's gonna be saying and doing dumb things, but when you hit that switch, he could be a dangerous person in the ring.
Right, it's like a switch flips in his head.
Right.
Where like you said, comedy 1 second, the next he's angle set, he's like tossing the Big Show around, who was 500 pounds, and he's doing it easily.
Right.
Where at that time you never saw anything like that.
He's picking up
So
Rikishi the same way. Yeah.
right, and then so like Kurt Angle keeps going on, wins King of the Ring, which I think is probably one of the better things to do. If you ever give a heel King of the Ring, they must have the stupid scepter, the robe, the crown as well. Because then he'd be like, "Oh, like, can you turn this into Olympic gold medal?" Like he's just
Right.
such a goofball. But then towards the summer, he gets to a love triangle with Triple H and Stephanie. What was your memories of this? Because I think
Uh,
for a lot of people, it's still in the weird phase of the daughters on TV. She's dating the top heel, and now here comes the Olympic gold medalist who loves hugs.
yes. Everything with him was he needed to get that hug.
With the goofy smile on his face, and Stephanie would look uncomfortable, and then Triple H in the background, huffing and puffing.
It also reminded me of like a lovesick dog who, or like a lovesick teenager
Right,
who knew that he couldn't get her, but if there was that opportunity, maybe just maybe she might like me, and that's exactly what was the vibe that was going on then and there.
right. And then meanwhile, backstage stuff where Triple H did not see anything in him in the top guy, where Joe Briscoe would go to him and be like, "You fucking wrestle him for real and see what happens." And then Triple H would sit down and shut up because he knew Kurt Angle would fucking like, twist him like a pretzel.
Yeah, it's funny that it's always the one or two individuals who are leading the pack and fighting to be in that position just doesn't see it as somebody else. Yeah, I don't see them being a top guy. Yeah, we know why
Right.
you're doing that, sir.
Right. I guess because Kurt Angle is 6'1", Triple H 6'3", he's too small. But the dude can fucking wrestle. Around the time too, Triple H, The Rock, Undertaker, Kane, he's in there with the main eventers. And then by October, he wins the WWE Championship, where like, like screw his face aside, they gave him everything. This was by Survivor Series in year one. He had won all the belts pretty much.
Right, right.
King of the Ring, European, Intercontinental, and the WWE title. Was this all too fast? Looking back on it,
No, we didn't think about it like that. You got to think about it at that time too. There was just a certain circle of guys that we saw uh, often, and not to say that we were tired of them, but they were always in the same mix: Triple H, Rock, Stone Cold, Triple H, Rock, Stone Cold, and you needed someone to be in there to mix it up a little bit. We didn't believe that it was going to happen that quickly for him, but it was interesting to see how he was involved in a lot of stuff.
mm-hmm.
I guess he was a Vince guy before we even knew what the terminology was, but Vince was pretty much was high on him, and yeah, he made sure that he got into the position and it worked out well for him.
This definitely was an interesting time because you're coming off the Attitude Era. And Kurt Angle was pretty much like, still a major thing in the Attitude Era, but it came to guys like him, Jericho, and Benoit, where it's like guys that they wanted to see something different. Even a guy like Kane, they wanted to see win the WWE title at least once or twice.
Right.
Where I guess for Kurt, where it was pretty much one of those runs where he had the belt for a little bit just to establish him as a main eventer. I mean, they did the first 6-man Hell in a Cell. He won that.
Mm-hmm.
He went on to lose to The Rock in February, and then develop a little feud with Chris Benoit, where now, unfortunately, due to what Benoit has done, where all those events aside, but looking back at those matches, them two had so much great chemistry between them.
Yeah, it's sad to say that we now have to reflect on what's occurred um, within that. that sphere with these men, but the man was able to pull on not only for Benoit, but he, with Eddie and those guys, he was able to put together great, feuds and rivalries, and it just seemed as though that you know once one person was becoming the aggressor, he was able to match that same aggression as well. So that's what really worked and made that chemistry so beautiful.
It definitely showed at the time where like where on the card you would have a Ben one angle, and then in the main event, Rock and Austin and Triple H. Like they would have you could definitely see different styles of wrestling back in the day, is when you include Jericho in the mix as well. Where do you think like it reflected badly for Kurt where he was in the main events where like when he faced Triple H or Rock or Austin, where it would be completely different from what everybody else was used to?
No, I think for Kurt,
Because I'll clarify because he worked a fast style where if it's like once he goes, he wants you to go.
right. But at the same time, he was still fairly new. He only really had about two maybe 3 years of wrestling under his belt, and he's still finding his way. The character's there, the personality's there, the gimmick is there, but there's still something missing with him, and we're still trying to figure out: is it the matches that are putting him over? Is it him, the gimmick putting him over? Is the personality putting him over? Uh, it still didn't feel like it was him as a whole yet, and I think these rivalries were helping him to build that natural appeal in the ring.
Because by the time summer of '01 come around, Vision starting.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, First off, your thoughts on his whole street fight with Shane McMahon at the King of the Ring. Like, what was
Oh,
your memories watching that?
oh my God! I knew right off the bat watching it that something was not
Right?
working. Something was not working there. Um, Fact of the matter is that Shane went through that, and Kurt was able to take him through it. Was great because he spoke about that match, and he said, I kept going to the kid. I kept telling him, Shane, listen, we don't have to do this.
But
And he
do you know the story of like what about the glass was?
well that they didn't put the right fucking pane of glass in the right place.
Because they originally had the sugar glass
The
set,
sugar
right? See,
glass
but the problem was they had pyro going off for the pay per view, so they didn't want the pyro to
to
make.
shatter the glass. Yeah.
So they switched it out, but forgot to switch it back out later in the show.
Right.
And nobody had told Curtis Shane. So when they went to go do the spot, Shane landed on his head like fucking 5 times until Kurt, like just by pure force, just threw another human being through glass, real glass.
Yeah. And that's what I'm saying. That Kurt was at that point where he was aware what was going on, and he says, "Listen, kid, we don't have to do this." And Shane is like, "Do it," and he's like, "Oh, okay." And he flung the shit out of him finally through that glass, and it made Shane look like a fucking star. It made him look like the gangsters of all gangsters. But Kurt was the one to really walk him through that match. And it was that showed that now he was starting to get the understanding of why people do what they do in wrestling.
Did you ever notice at that time too? By like after WrestleMania 17, Rock's going away to film a movie. Austin's a heel now, so he's gonna work less. But did you ever notice how much Kurt like they would rely on Kurt, Benoit, and Jericho afterwards, where like like Kurt and Benoit would do the 2 out of 3 falls match, and then Benoit would work another 2 matches
Yeah.
afterwards. Like Kurt would work 2 King of the Ring tournament matches, and then do the match with Shane. Like, did it ever occur to you like they overusing a lot of these guys, or especially like these ones individually?
Well, you have to think about it too as well. SmackDown was how many years old by this time?
Maybe like 99, like 2 years at this point.
Yeah, so they were really still trying to push the fact that show had its superstars and such.
Right.
So Kurt was a go-to guy there, and mind you, at that same time too, Kurt wasn't really dealing with too much injuries at that time early on.
Mm-hmm.
Um, So he was able to be a go-to guy for them.
But they're definitely risking it. I mean,
Yeah, yeah,
when you're sending them back out there a couple of times on one show, or maybe a couple of times a week, and also let's be real here too, with Vince promising, okay, like one of you three is going to be the next, like Storm, who like, going to be the
yeah,
face of the company. I mean, with Benoit, we knew after like for his career he would push himself to the limit. Jericho the same. Kurt to the limit too. I mean, that cage match on Raw with Benoit doing that fucking moonsault, the prettiest moonsault you ever see in your life, just and then just bangs on the mat like nothing.
right.
Because I
Yeah,
mean, then
taking that bump is insane.
right, and then he pretty much gets all his hard work prevails where he gets the main event with Stone Cold at the SummerSlam, Unforgiven, to the Fall. But and then I think the evasion angle kind of hurt him as well because at the time where
But I heard a lot
9/11,
of wrestlers at that by that time. It was hurting a lot of people by then.
yeah, but then and then unfortunately 9/11 happens, and then they change course with storyline, give him the belt because America needs a win. That's their words, not mine.
Hmm.
And then they take the belt off him a couple of weeks for storyline, and then they turn him heel, and then Kurt Angle really never recuperated in that sense from a lot of people saying at the time where it was an unnecessary heel turn because when he turned babyface and he was feuding with Austin, he was getting loud chants, and the people were actually behind him.
Right.
And meanwhile, this is still goofy Kurt that's like going up to the Rock and saying, "Hey, maybe after the show we go get a glass of milk." And then, of course, the famous the Milkomania with the milk truck parenting Stone Cold, where Stephanie became JR's words, the Dairy Queen. I mean, that was pretty much Kurt Angle's highest point of, of reactions, don't you think?
Oh,
Or
please,
at least where this is where Vince or the company started saying, you know what, we definitely have something in this guy.
please. My favorite of all is him in the little cowboy hat.
Oh,
Uh
yippee ki
uh we always used to call him the little buckaroo whenever we saw him with that look. He was our little buckaroo.
Bro.
No,
But
I gotta put that picture up. I love that picture.
but Jay, at the time when the companies are downhill, there's no competition. I don't think it's the best idea to put at least Stone Cold and Kurt Angle doing skits with cowboy hats on. Like I don't think that's really helping the company at that point.
Kumbaya, my lord.
And then the
uh,
response, and then that's the actual response where, like, who cares? Like, we have funny ass skits with these two fucking idiots.
yeah, I think like I said, it was one of those. Oh, I love it. That's my little buckaroo.
I think Stone Cold revealed like once he saw that he had it, was like, I gotta put it on Kurt.
He like I said, it's still one of those things that you put him in a right scenario and you put him in a place where I think they just said this guy can make it work. He's gonna make it. He's gonna make this whole premise work. Um, what is it? When he was singing as well, when he did all
Jimmy crack corn, and I
Jimmy
don't
got
care.
caught.
Jimmy,
Yes,
and I don't
I got
care.
I
I
got
got
Olympic
Olympic gold.
gold. You can't, you can deny that the guy had some kind of chops out there to fucking at least bring some kind of emotion out of the fans.
I also just look at this picture. I'm just looking at the one thing I want to ask you about. But what did you think of him walking around with the gold medals as a character?
Oh, I thought it was great. If it's perfect.
Like, I wanted to bring up, forgot to bring up where early on when he would win, he would go on his knees, cry like he won the Olympics all over again. That was a nice early on touch.
Yeah, yeah. Every time he won a match, yeah.
He thought it was like, oh, it's the big one, it's the big one, like crying and shit. But I think like too where people who are fans of the Olympics would see like a picture of that, be like, oh, they're disrespecting the gold medal. I mean, it's like it's all entertainment at this point. Like that's like one of those things where I see people make criticism of that. And there's another thing later on that in Kurt's career where people are like, oh, this hurts him, they're burying him, but it did the complete opposite. But so the invasion angle's over. WCW is dead. ECW is dead. Then they do the brand split, and Kurt Angle's one of the main faces for SmackDown. Where early on that was probably the best decision the company made because then he starts working with newer guys like Edge. and then they start doing the whole. There's a chant that starts going on along with his theme song, where it was time with. where timely in the theme song, the fans would chant "You suck," and then eventually the company caught on to it. What was your early thoughts on that?
I I wasn't really a big fan of it because,
Hmm.
especially knowing what happened with the what chants around that time.
They use on Kurt every time. Like, this famous promos where he'd be like, if you say what one more time, I'm gonna challenge Stone Cold to a match.
Right.
And then now his ass gets kicked because of you.
Because I knew with the what chance, and I said this is gonna stick, and it's it's just not gonna go away. And
It's stuck.
yeah, yeah. Even when even when he turned face, and or if he was doing something right, it was just like, and you have to turn and embrace it. You have to embrace it.
Right. Which is very weird. Where he would elaborate where he says like when the people chant "you suck" at me, it actually means they love me. And it was like one of those things. Even when I was a kid, I was like, what? No. Like, either they hate you or they really. It's just a fun thing to do because it's your theme song. They're never gonna change it because of this. Like even like the ECW version later on they gave them, they tried to,
Yeah.
and that was one weird remix of a theme song. But Kurt Angle works with Edge, and then they do the whole hair thing where I wasn't really noticing his hair, but did you ever notice like his hair was starting to go?
Yeah, yeah, it was noticeable.
And then I think as we see him later on with the bald look, I think the bald look definitely fits him better, right? Or he at least adapted to it nicely.
Oh, please! The funniest is when he
Or they had the wig and the
the headpiece. I died. That was the best for me.
I remember watching. I was watching where I watched old school SmackDowns later on, and then like, oh, Kurt Angle has a big reveal. He would walk out, and it's like, oh, you want to see my bald head? Well, not. And then he would take the thing off, and Ted's like, oh, look, his hair grew back.
Oh my god, it was the best out of all of his gimmicks when he would come out wearing that. It was I he really. Oh, I'm finding a picture right now. That's what I'm filibustering because I'm trying to get the
Because
system.
again, he's one of those characters where it's like you're not gonna tell him he's bald. Like he's not gonna accept it. He's like, oh no, my hair's fine. And then he put the stupid little wig piece on, and then the headgear on, and just like nothing was wrong.
When you when you look, you kind of go for a second and go, no, no, that's no, it's a bit, it's a wig. It's like, no,
Yeah,
it's a wig. Yeah.
right.
Oh,
I'm just waiting for the photo to pop up before I bring up the next topic.
oh,
I just not even close to what his old hair
no,
was.
no. But once again, Kurt being Kurt knew how to make it work, and I forgot that he was a Heyman guy early on.
Right. I mean, him and pretty much had the SmackDown 6, which I wanted to get your thoughts on. Where when the brand split happened, like there was a noticeable programming style change when SmackDown because SmackDown 6 had Kurt, Benoit, the Guerreros, Edge, and the newcomer Rey Mysterio. Like
Right.
early on, like did you think SmackDown was better than Raw, or did you like really not notice
I
that
started
type of
leaning more.
programming?
I was starting to lean more into SmackDown. I watch both shows automatically, but
Of
they,
course.
SmackDown was gaining the top stars. They had the guys over there. They had my kind of wrestlers. They had Guerrero. They had Benoit. They had Kurt. Those were like those guys that I like to watch wrestle.
Like, what? Like, is it just that one thing though of the wrestling, or was it storylines that just? Because I heard people feel like because on Raw the storylines were just stupid, where Katie Vick was going around on that time with other nonsense. What made SmackDown stick out at that time with
It
Kurt
was
Angle and all of
more.
them?
I would hate to say that, not to say that it was more real because that's kind of redundant,
Mm-hmm.
I would say more that the rivalry seemed more logical there. And then when you started bringing in guys like Brock in the mix, and then uh, when they when they formed Team Angle and shit like that, I was like a big fan of that kind of style of wrestling. So that worked more for me.
Because the idea of having six guys like wrestle each other every week, every month, every weekend, kind of seems like the dark days of Raw, honestly. But back in the day, it was still special because I mean, Rey Mysterio's new, so he's gonna be in the ring with Kurt Angle. He's gonna be in the ring with Chris Benoit. Like a lot of new matchups at that time. Where and you mentioned Paul Heyman was at the helm, and Kurt Angle had a lot of success on SmackDown. Pretty much the top heel, top babyface, whatever role they needed him to be, along with Undertaker and the newcomer Brock Lesnar. Where at WrestleMania 19 was pretty much a given. We got to do Brock Lesnar and Kurt Angle, two amateur wrestlers in the main event, but injuries start piling on to Kurt. Where I don't know if you noticed on television, but his work schedule started lessening. He wouldn't wrestle that much, and it's all neck problems. Where like did you like would you be aware like of was there any dirt sheet rumors that he may be gone, like he might miss WrestleMania that year?
Well,
Like
yeah, we
what was the feeling watching around that time when like his injuries started being known about?
yeah there was often talks about that. We and like we mentioned earlier, he was he was beating himself up during that time, and
Right.
we knew that it was gonna it was building up. His wrestling slowed down a little bit. Um, they paired him up with Haas and Benjamin. He had a managerial role a little bit there. Gave him some time.
Kind of like his coach
Right.
type of role.
Yeah, gave him time to to heal up a little bit. But he was another one that he just didn't know how to get off the road for a little bit. He didn't know when to sit down.
Like he's one of those guys where he couldn't have time off because he like, would you say he's one of those guys where like he's one of the boys that didn't want to disappoint the boss and say, listen, I need a
Right.
break. I need at least a month or something.
Oh, please, because all we get is no problem, pal. But I
Right.
need you to do something for me next Friday. And it's like,
Exactly.
okay, all right.
Like I'll let you go off, but can you do this for me? And then that fucking funny enough, it's the WrestleMania match in 19 where live watching it, you would not think Kurt was anything wrong with him.
Yeah.
Where it's one of those things where it's to pump the venom serum in him. He took some like super pill and nothing was wrong with him. Meanwhile, Brock is the one that fucking nearly breaks his neck on the shooting star press.
Yeah. Wasn't it Arn Anderson who told him to do that?
It was Johnny
Oh,
Ace,
Johnny. Yeah, Johnny Ace. Yeah.
because he saw it in OVW once. Said, "Oh, it's WrestleMania. You need to pull something out, big kid."
Right.
And Brock was refusing to do it because he knew what was gonna fucking happen because he hadn't done the move in a while. But that's a different story. But so Kurt goes away, comes back as a babyface, and this is where he does the weird, like, embraces the "you suck" stuff. But then, like, he goes through 2003, 2004, turning. Well, mostly he's been a heel, feuding with guys like Eddie Guerrero, um, the Big Show, a lot of those stuff. And then by 2005 is when we actually get a dream match, a match that nobody thought they ever was going to see, where it was Kurt Angle versus Shawn Michaels.
The wrestling machine, Kurt Angle.
Was this a match you ever thought of, like watching the product? Where it's like, what if Kurt Angle and Shawn Michaels had a
No,
match?
honestly, I didn't really think about it. When Sean left, I was like,
Oh,
okay.
he's done.
Yeah, I was like, I was fine with it. Like, it never really, you know, really affected my thoughts of ever seeing him wrestle again. I never really had it in mind. But when he came back, I was like, oh man, that's cool. And I thought about any last matches that he can have, or closing chapters or whatever. But with Kurt, it never seemed to um it never crossed my mind that this would be something that would happen.
Right. And the story was pretty much started at the Rumble where Shawn eliminates him, Kurt goes back and eliminates him, and then the build up with a lot of some memorable stuff. Of course, I mean, I mean, I'm a sexy Kurt, where Kurt brings back Sherry Martel to do a rendition of Shawn Michaels' theme song, but Shawn says like you're a dork, like this ain't gonna do you any favors at WrestleMania. And then I think this was the last known thing Sherry did on television where she gets thrown on the floor and then takes the ankle lock from Kurt Angle, who's in Shawn Michaels gear.
Yeah.
And Marty Jannetty brought Marty Jannetty to work with Kurt Angle on SmackDown, which one of the better Marty Jannetty matches
Yeah,
you will
he looked
see.
great. I remember, a matter of fact, I watched that match recently, and I was like, wow, he looked fantastic in that match.
Like, this is Kurt Angle in his prime, going as fast as he can. And Marty kept up with him, which was the shocking thing ever. But then once they get to the match, Bobby Heenan, one of the all-time greats, says it's the best. It's one of the best wrestling matches he's ever seen. Where, I mean, that's one of the matches people definitely need to go out and check. WrestleMania 21, Shawn Michaels and Kurt Angle. So, and then at this point, I think in Kurt's career, like he's pretty much done everything. He's been WWE champion. He's main event WrestleManias. And then they decided to change him. They do the draft special. They move him over to Raw. He has a really awkward segment with Triple H where they're both sweating with the air conditioner in the arena is fucking broken. They're both sweating their asses off in the
Oh,
suits.
with the shirts on, yeah.
Yeah. Like, and then like, did it ever feel weird from Kurt Angle to move from SmackDown to Raw? Like, was it like, okay, this is? Was that one of the things you like? We didn't care about. I mean, as a kid, I cared. It was just like, oh, now we're going to see Kurt Angle on the Red brand. But for
Well,
you, was it one of those things where it's like, okay, this is going to be interesting to see what he does on Raw?
well, to me, I think it was at that point in time where I felt as though that Kurt did, what he can do in SmackDown. He pretty much did everything else there, and but I think with him as well, I think he was starting to feel burning out there as well.
Right.
And when the draft happened, he goes to Raw. I don't think that he felt as though like he fit there. I guess he had he was homesick from leaving SmackDown.
Because he went from top heel to SmackDown, now going to being top heel on Triple H's show.
Right.
He was back to being number 2.
Right.
And until Triple H went away to heal his wounds from his feud with Batista, Kurt Angle was at the top of Raw for a little bit, but that was just to put over John Cena, they switched over as well. And that was pretty much Kurt Angle's role on Raw, where he would work with Shawn again, he'd work with Cena. But his whole entire Raw run at that point, in 2005 up until the New Year, put Cena over. And then like he had a character change where he turned into the wrestling machine.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't taking shit anymore. He had Daivari as a manager, where like the Olympic gold medalist is now against America. I mean, the famous promo on New Year's Revolution where if Jesus was alive, he'd make him tap out.
Yeah, he had the mouth guard and all that stuff.
Yeah, I will say visually, what did you think of the change? Because like he went from wrestling boots to wrestling shoes, and then mouth guard, and then he had more intensity too. Like maybe he had some laughs, but he took himself so seriously too. Like what did you think? Like, it was kind of like Ken Shamrock levels.
Yeah, he needed, like I said, he needed something to change. He needed a change up. He needed a boost, and I thought it worked. What I thought really was probably going to be the nail in the coffin is when he went to ECW. I thought that was where it was going to be like, yeah, this is not going to be good for him.
I mean, physically, did you ever notice anything was wrong about him? I mean, I keep asking because when I look back at him, it definitely seemed nothing was wrong. But he talked about like his he had constant neck problems.
Yeah.
He had to go away for a little bit, or not even go away for a little bit. Go to the doctor, get a prescription, and just pop a bunch of pills. He'd be fine.
Yeah, but he never really showed it. I mean, you could tell that maybe he was not slowing up, but changing the style a little bit and only ramping it up when it needed to be ramped up. He wasn't as intense as he was in the previous years.
Wow.
But yeah, you can see the slight change. But when he'd go away, come back, and now we have him doing work in ECW and such. To me, it was just like, yeah, this is not gonna go well. He's not gonna be here for a while.
Right. Well, I mean, before the ECW stuff, you have to remember, they moved him back over to SmackDown when Batista got hurt because they needed a world champion, so they give him the
Right.
belt. Then he has an excellent he has an excellent main event with Undertaker in February, No Way Out, where I think afterwards they try to pitch the rematch for WrestleMania the next month, but Rey Mysterio had the Royal Rumble win, so that was guaranteed as well. And then like he's working with Mark Henry, and this is where I definitely started noticing Kurt's slowing down because like, he's starting to work with the bigger guys, and he looks like he's struggling like to like move a Mark Henry or Undertaker. I mean, and then when you said like the final blow was like the ECW one where
Yeah.
the C show working less, and you would think that would work perfect for Kurt, right? Work less, it starts to heal up all his injuries. He took his disrespect. I think it was also too he suffered a pay cut because it was technically the third brand he was going to go on.
Yeah, and by this time he was already talking about like he knew that with that contract it wasn't gonna be it wasn't gonna be what he expected. So he asked for the exit, citing health issues and stuff like that. So he knew what was happening.
I was about to ask, like, because I don't remember how this happened. Because I remember watching as a kid. He gets banned. He gets fired or like arrested on ECW TV, and then you never see him again.
Right.
And then as I watched TNA as well, where I saw like Christian make the jump, the Dudleys make the jump, Rhino make the jump. Then the vignette happens at No Surrender 2006. Yeah, I think it's No Surrender
Yeah. Oh six.
2006.
Yeah. Oh six.
Where it's at the end of the pay per view and they go, we have a special announcement. There's a hooded figure in a six-sided ring. He takes the hood off, and it's Kurt fucking Angle. Where I don't. My reaction was, "This is crazy." What was yours to seeing this?
First thing was he looked different. He lost weight. It didn't look like the same guy. His face looked a little bit more gaunt. It also looked a little bit more. I actually thought it was like if he had like reconstructive surgery for a moment because I really didn't recognize him
Right.
until it took me a while. I was like, wow, what the fuck happened to Kurt?
Right.
But you know, he looked as though like if he was reborn when he got to TNA. Like he looked as though like he was able to. I guess if he shed the extra weight, it made him
Right.
look as though like he could work a little more easier. It'll be more relaxing for him. But
He looked rested. He looked like he was ready to go.
yeah,
Because I think in the summer of '06 is when Vince, the word was fired, right? They fired Kurt Angle.
right,
Because I think that was what they put on their press release too, where they said that he was a risk to himself and the roster.
right.
Because I believe that this time, also the word was people like don't give Kurt any pills. Vince, that's a decree from Vince. Because Kurt would go around the locker room and ask for pills. But in any case, then so by September, they're 1 month before their big show in TNA, and TNA locks up Kurt Angle, the biggest wrestler acquisition at the time, where comes in, they advertised him for Bound for Glory as the special enforcer for Sting and Jarrett.
Mm-hmm.
But the big money feud they were planning for Kurt Angle right off the start, they didn't waste any time. Him and Samoa Joe.
Very, very AEW esque. Very, very. Let's get the dream match out. Let's get this dream match out the way.
Well, I mean, when you sign Kurt Angle, what would be the other thing to do?
All right, listen.
Samoa Joe's not doing anything in the X division. They want to push him in the main event,
right.
and this guy wants to come in and work with the dude. I will ask you because you are a wrestling fan, but you knew of Samoa Joe before, or you knew of TNA before Kurt Angle went.
Of course, yeah, definitely.
So when these two were paired up, were you as a fan, were you like geeking out over it, or were you like really already? Like, what was your overall
No.
thoughts?
At that time, I wasn't as jaded as I am now. Like, but no, it for us. It was perfect. It was like, oh shit, right? All right, bet, let's go. At that time, Joe was at his top of his game, freshly coming out through the Ring of Honor promotion. He already was building up steam in TNA,
Yeah.
and he immediately to have him in a match with Kurt was it was a fan favorite. You know, I like I said, I could look at it now and go, hey, I think they could have had a better build up for it, but why not? You know, you can put it right then and there and get it going.
I mean, that initial stare down. I don't know if you remember from the Impact. Kurt Angle comes. What do you think of his new entrance entrance overall when when he jumped into TNA?
Ah, you know what? It like I mentioned earlier, the "You Sucks" chant were gone at the time. It it was a new, fresh start, and I thought that everything fit for him perfectly there.
They
You
gave him
know,
the star treatment. The the
yeah.
the the, the, um, the rising ramp where he comes from underneath.
Mm-hmm.
He draped down the American flag, hood over his head, and just overall, I mean, that Orlando crowd where it was funny. I think it's a lot of people say like he went for a downgrade, but Kurt didn't give a fuck. But I mean, they gave him a lot of money too. But the presentation, new theme song, he pretty much brought the wrestling machine character with him, just and more intense with him.
To
Because
this day, I still want a Team Angle, Kurt Angle hoodie. I want that fucking hoodie.
but the original with the blue or the black one,
Either one. I to this day, I would have wanted one of those.
right? And then so Kurt Angle does Bound for Glory, and then like we are talking about, they pretty much went with it. Genesis, the next pay per view, straight away. Kurt Angle, Samoa Joe main event, and then they did the match three more times. But I want to talk about Kurt's character, where he wasn't. He was supposed to be a babyface, but he was acting heelish. Where like when he lost the rematch to Samoa Joe, he was giving SoCal Val the ankle lock, attacking Don West, like, threatening to kill people if he didn't get the rematch. Like, did you like that new presentation for Kurt, where it's like he's not really defined what he is. He's just
No,
whatever he wants to be.
he was just rabid, and I thought that was a great look for him.
You liked it when he started attacking announcers and
Yeah,
ringside
sure.
girls.
Yeah, fuck it.
So those two motions, and then as far as like for him going to TNA, was there any, like we talked about Samoa Joe? Any other people on the roster that you were very intrigued to see him go against? Like,
Oh man, I mean, at that time, I would have liked to have seen him coming in with like, going against younger guys. He had like like the Bobby Roodes in there.
right.
Um, uh, James Storm, EY was always like a little fun guy for me.
Mm-hmm.
That's why because I knew that he can wrestle. I knew that he had potential. So I always thought like something like that with
Mm.
guys with like that. Um, I'm trying to think of like like guys I would have been able to match his vibe, technical style. They would have been, oh man, please. And of course, our boy Homicide and guys like that. It would have been fun to see him go with, guys who know the ring. But I think immediately he had so much momentum that I think they found they might have had like after Joe, they were really gonna start looking for potential wrestlers for him because he at that time coming back, he was back in his rare form. He was back to his old ways.
I mean, when you think about guys on the roster, Abyss, AJ Styles, like
Well,
Jay
AJ, yeah, definitely.
Lethal,
AJ, definitely. Uh,
like a lot of the younger guys too. But I mean, TNA does what TNA did. I mean, they had him face Christian Cage at least for two times for the NWA World Title,
right.
and then we're not gonna gloss over too much over it, but they made him have a match with Scott Steiner,
Oh,
where it's like on paper it sounds fun with the two the wrestlers going at it, but it's not the same Scott Steiner from the '90s. It's not the same Kurt Angle from a couple of years ago, who's still healthy, but completely different aspects of it. But then, so Kurt Angle was doing his TNA run, and then eventually they introduced his wife as an on-screen character. Did you even know Kurt was married at the time or
oh yeah,
care?
we knew he was married, but it's like, really, you're bringing the wife to work? Great, wow.
Right, and then it seems like every week on Impact there was always a storyline between them two where it's like they're scheming to go against somebody or they're fighting against each other. Like we saw the whole divorce on television
Yeah.
from 2007 to 2008.
To be fair, he has said that they were already starting. They were already going on the outs. They were pretty much were leading down that road.
Right, because I mean, where like you're building up about for glory, Kurt Angle and Sting, first time ever, Kurt Angle and Sting in Atlanta, where Sting made him name himself and Kurt Angle won the gold medal, and the wife's involved. It's like, no, how like I think when Spike TV got used to Karen or had a thing for Karen, it kind of ruined Kurt's character a little bit for me.
Right.
Because you cut these promos like I don't give a shit about my wife, I don't give a shit about my kids, I give a damn about my world title, and that's all I care about. And then,
Yeah, and like I said, it really. I mean, when it came out later on with the Jeff Jarrett thing, that's when it was like, ooh, sexy.
well,
But but they had already alluded to say like, yeah, they pretty much were on the out. So,
and then I was gonna say like what was your overall reaction to that? I mean, the founder of the company that recruited Kurt Angle to come in is now sleeping with the man's ex-wife. I mean, like again, they split it, but it's one of those things where it's like a cardinal rule. Like how really you're gonna go for the man's ex-wife?
well, storyline wise, they actually presented it well. I
Well,
thought they
later
did.
on, but I'm talking about
Yeah.
like by 2008 and 2000.
Yeah, no, it was like,
It was definitely awkward.
yeah, but they still made it work.
Yeah, and then I also wanted to bring up too. Did you ever find it like weird, stupid, or however you felt about it when Vince's name would get brought up for Kurt storylines in TNA? Like Jeff J would be like if you want to go back so badly, I'll make you like worse for him, like that type of thing, or like
No. But that was the thing that WWE didn't like to do it, but TNA didn't. They of course you gotta let everyone know that there is a outside company, another company out there. I was okay with that.
it was just that it was a crutch for them though.
Right. No, but when you do it repeatedly and often, yeah, it becomes that. But no.
And then Kurt Angle, main event Mafia Angle, and then it was definitely I will say one of his weirder looks. Or what, I don't know how would you describe his look, but when he was started wearing the suits, like he was the Godfather. Like he started to grow his hair out a little longer, a little more gross.
The facial hair. I
growing a
actually
beard.
I thought the facial hair looked pretty cool for him.
Because I mean, I think that may be like one of those looks where he tried it and it definitely stood out.
Right.
But then like
that's when he started really not looking like himself.
Right, and physically again, he was like you mentioned, like he definitely was so skinny to certain points. I mean, I know he trained hard for that Samoa Joe match in Boston where he was doing the MMA style, but that was unhealthy. That was like skinny and healthy, and you knew. Like, he admits to this day, like he kept taking pills. I mean, and maybe one extra strength Tylenol you would take, you and me, but he would take like 8, all for a fucking neck.
Yeah, and you gotta understand, like some of those medications, they either do one or two things to your body when it comes to diet wise. Either it locks you up stomach wise, or it flushes you out. And you can lose a lot of sodium. Dehydration occurs, and you start. The weight loss looks. Like I said, he looked smaller than what he did when he was in the Olympics. That's what it was kind of it was worrisome for me.
Right. So like, and then with Kurt Angle, and then Hulk Hogan comes along, and then they do the Montreal Screwjob with Kurt Angle and Hulk Hogan for funsies. I don't know. I never understood why they ever did that, but around this time, and also let's remember too, where there was so many rumors every time Kurt Angle's contract was up. Like, oh, is he going to jump back? Is he going to jump back?
Right.
He would always say he's happy in TNA. There's no reason for him to leave. I mean, as a fan looking back, or even at the time, like, did you ever want him to go back to WWE?
No, I thought at that time that he had he had his run there, and right now with the condition that he was in, it might have been better that he would stay in TNA. It was a better fit for him, and there was still a lot of guys that were going through there that we could still see, really good matches with. Like we still had um, um, teams. He had guys like Mike Morgan that I was a big fan of in there. And there's a lot of there was some possibility of matches in there that he could, he didn't have to jump ship with.
I mean, and they're bringing the old WWE guys where Kirk could work with them. I mean, Rob Van Dam. I mean, Jeff Hardy was one of the
Right.
bigger names too. But I will say, for his TNA run, did it ever feel like he was the face of TNA to you?
Um, if maybe close to it, like main event Mafia days, maybe
It
he
was.
was like,
It always felt like him and AJ were
yeah,
they're rocking Austin. Some may say.
yeah, they were getting there, yeah.
I mean, WWE. He was never positioned like that. But when he goes to TNA, number one draw. I mean, merch seller. He was pretty much at the top of the TNA ladder. And then by the time I think when it got to 2016, I mean, it was 10 years. He made 10 years longer than he did in WWE.
Yeah, that's the crazy thing that he did. He did 10 years in TNA. I think also there was no really rush to bring him back because Vince, although they say that although he says there was never really any sour grapes, I do believe that there was still some kind of resentment on how the way that he left.
Mm-hmm.
And also there was a sense of also the fact that, he wasn't, you still hear stuff, they'll be like, you bring him back, he's going to get hit they're going to hit him. They're going to hit him with the drug test and they're going to find something on him. So, that's why they weren't really in a rush to like bring him back.
Yeah. And did you ever believe that initial meeting that Kurt talked about in 2006, where Vince made a comment about his gold medal, like it's just a piece of metal? Did you ever believe that comment?
Um, yes and no, because it does sound like something Vince would say, but
Yeah.
Vince was also a guy who uh, took pride in America and American standards and how we are it's basically built by the country. And so that's why I said, hey, maybe, maybe not.
And then
Because I think he kind of looked at the medal as though if it was like a championship belt. It's just a gimmick, pal. But still, there's something more worth it when the gold medal is won with actual work and determination. So yeah, I can see that.
so around this time, later on towards at the end of his TNA run, like where physically he starts to deteriorate, but outside of the ring, starts doing movies, some of random ass movies, where it's like a movie with him and fucking Survivor Jenna. Have you? Please tell me, have you ever watched it or heard of
No,
this?
I did watch River of Darkness, which was the one where he
Oh,
played as sheriff.
yeah, Sheriff, and he's actually the one doing everything.
Right. The good one that he was in was Warrior with Tom Hardy. That was a good one.
Mm-hmm.
That's why he played the Great Koba.
And didn't he do didn't he have like a small role in the movie The Rock was doing? I forgot what the movie was.
Oh, he was in Pain and
But
Gain with Mark Wahlberg as well. Yeah,
because there's the one scene where Kurt's I think he's in the prison with The Rock as well,
yeah.
and we got to see a little flashback of them to have a little fight in the jail yard.
Oh, please! When you look at his IMDb, he has uh what is it? He has Beyond the Mat, which is still not released. It says
Wow.
um what is this? Pain not Pain and Gain. Pro Wrestlers versus Zombies.
Yeah, of course he was in that.
He was in Sharknado 2.
I remember that. I think he was like he was like a paramedic or a doctor.
He was a fire chief.
Jesus.
And he was in The Witch Hunter.
Okay. So yeah, the Kurnigo started doing a lot of outside stuff, but then other outside stuff is his run-ins with the law. I mean, Jay, did make you like? How did you feel like? Well, how did it make you react when you would see Kurt Angle in the news for DUIs?
So but even before that, I was more engaged with his romances because I believe it was after Karen
Was it a Raka Khan?
Right, but we need to cover this episode too. He
Okay.
actually went to Howard Stern, and
Mm,
he tried to woo a date with Robin. So
really? Oh, so he has a
yeah,
type.
oh yeah, he loved the chocolate. Him and Brett need to hang out. They love the chocolate.
Right.
But he and it was Raka Khan with Raka Khan, and he had
They were dating,
the,
right? They did
they
have
were
a child
dating.
together.
No, they were just dating, and she did they end up saying that she was all the way whacked out already, like that she was already on she was already on some
Right.
shit. But they dated for a few, but it wasn't until I believe later on that he found the woman of his dreams, and I believe they're still married to this day, Giovanna.
Right. I mean,
Uh,
a lot of stuff that I don't know if you see it. The Kurt's having like dinner and spaghetti, like having spaghetti based cutting it to make it short. And she starts yelling at him, and she's like, are you freaking kidding me? And then it's like, I have I want to go on my broken freaking neck. She's like, if you ever use that line again, I'm gonna kill you. Where like, she's one of those women. There was a positive influence on him, where she was like, "Listen, like, you need to get the fuck better, or you're gonna lose me, or you're gonna lose your kids." And that's
yeah,
when later on, we see changes in him physically, where he's starting to. But I mean, it was funny when they're doing the Aces and Eights funeral, and Joe's passing out beers, and he's about to pass one. And Kurt goes, no, that's not wise. I mean, give it to somebody else."
no,
Like on TNA, like they would make subtle jabs to him in his sobriety, and he would take it on the chin because he knows, like, I fucked up.
yeah, but also you could tell that there was some kind of also a a humanly side of him, especially being a father. He and Karen, although it played out on TV, it was different, but they had an applicable separation and divorce.
Right.
They were fine.
But when it came to
He,
TV, it made it seem like this woman was a cunt.
yeah, but he was fine. They were fine. He just, he just had his demons and he just couldn't kick it. And, a lot of his legal issues came from intoxication on the road from being either, with, alcohol and drug and pills or, you know, just pills, he just had those instances. But, after his last arrest, that's when he went to the drug rehab.
That was in 2013, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So then, and I will say, also at a point where he would come to the shows, people would talk about how physically he couldn't walk, like he would struggle to like, like, like get in the building. But once he gets his gear on, takes like his ritual stuff, that man, like they said, like it'd be like night and day, but it'd be like Kurt Angle on his lowest to his Kurt Angle on his fucking highest.
Yeah, it's just crazy how like that happens to a lot of them. It just a certain gear just goes on with them,
It's
and
scary.
once they put on the uniform, once they put on their wrestling gear and such, it just ramps up to another level.
Ugh. I'm sorry.
Look,
1 yard.
when you look
One.
1 yard so far, you got through with 1 yard. So we can look at his accolades, before we wrap him up. We see.
Yeah, like he finishes up with TNA, then he makes his try for return to WWE. Goes in the Hall of Fame deservedly, and I think his Hall of Fame speech was very well done. Where he knew when to take it seriously, and he knew the people were there for fun, so he would do the sexy Kurt. He did the whole 9 yards for his
Right.
thing. They put him on television right away. Was that a smart decision?
Yeah, I thought so.
Fresh from firing Foley, let's go with Kurt. And
Yeah, I thought so. And it was unfortunate on how he went out. And no fault to Corbin himself and all. I just thought that maybe they should have at least give Kurt his option of who he wanted to put him out. But
he said John Cena, but
yeah,
we can't
but
get what we want.
but you think about his accolades. This is it's a man in professional wrestling. Well, internet, in freestyle and stuff. He got a gold medal in freestyle, NCAA All American, heavyweight champion in 1990 and 92. We're looking at a guy who, in professional wrestling, He was comeback wrestler of the year. Uh, he had match of the year with Brock Lesnar, match of the year with Shawn Michaels. He rookie of the year 2000. All these were PWIs. It's 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 amazing from where the young man outside of Pittsburgh made his way in professional wrestling, and even to this day, on his podcast and stuff, he's still a inspiration to those who are fighting through their demons and fighting, their way back to sobriety.
Right. I forget the name of it, but he definitely started a program to help people who are dealing with sobriety issues.
Right.
But like you pretty much did, like arguably one of the goats, one of the greatest of all times in professional wrestling. So I'm gonna do just quick fire questions for you, Jay, where quick quick answers. But Kurt Angle's greatest rival,
Um, Either Benoit or Lesnar.
best match of his career,
Oh, Sean and him in WrestleMania.
funniest Kurt Angle moment,
I tell you, my little buckaroo.
any dream match that we missed out on.
Ooh, any dream match we missed out on.
I mean, the odd one for me is with the Hitman.
Yeah, yeah. Kurt and Brett would have been something. Uh, Kurt and Malenko. Um,
Ooh,
yeah, Kurt and Malenko would have been really good. Uh, I'm gonna probably put it together in a WWE 2K match, but Josh Alexander versus Kurt Angle, it'll be fun.
What did Joe Hendry call Josh Alexander? Kurt Angle from Wish.
And a pairing that I would have loved to see, although they did a kind of an offshoot, but really didn't do it. I would have loved to see Kurt with American Alpha.
Also, let's be real here too. He should have been Chad Gable's father. That should have been the whole storyline.
Well, everybody kept saying that Jason Jordan looked like him. That was the real thing. That's why. But Chad kind of looked like him too. So
Yeah, and last one, WWE Kurt Angle or TNA Kurt Angle? Which do you prefer?
oh man, that's tough, man. Because in TNA, like I said, he was like a phoenix rising. He came back. Oh, I would probably say TNA, but his first gonna say his first 4 years, 3 4 years in WWE was it was unstoppable. That he had everything go. Hell, shit, he even challenged a professional mixed martial artist. Almost got his shit broke, but he wasn't scared of it. He was tough.
Right. And we never mentioned how many times like he would talk about he gets offers from Dana White. I mean, that's one of those what ifs.
Yeah, and give it up to a man who helped to introduce the ruthless aggression era and kickstarting the career of probably the greatest of all time.
Absolutely. I mean, I know how he is physically. That it's kind of hard to say. Like, would you like? Can we put Kurt Angle back in the ring for one more? But physically, mentally, he's definitely done with wrestling.
Yeah, he's done. His body's broken. He's we heard earlier that his head isn't really in that place. But even still, like whatever knowledge he could bring to he went to the TNA Hall of Fame in 2013 and then the
Yes,
WWE in 2017. Wow.
Wow.
Yeah, but still, accomplishments after accomplishments, man. 10-time Triple Crown champ and a 5-time Grand Slam champ. That's to say a lot for this man's career.
A lot of other stuff too. Like nobody would know if he was also IWGP World Champion. That's like one of those things where people also don't realize that about him.
Right. Yeah.
Because when he worked TNA, he got to work Japan as well.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a rare New Japan Brock Lesnar Kurt Angle match out there that people could watch. You ever want to see Brock in red tights for random funsies?
Yeah. Right.
But so that's it for us talking about Kurt Angle, and now it's time for this week in wrestling history.
I haven't gotten a soundboard yet for it, but I will bring it back, so I'll just do it to it here. This week wrestling History.
Let's start off with July 17th in 1984. WCW's first ever Bash at the Beach pay-per-view took place at the Orlando Arena in Orlando, Florida. They really weren't creative back then with arena names like they are today.
Oh no. Are you crazy?
More importantly, this event marked the in-ring WCW debut of Hulk Hogan and the first ever televised clash between the biggest star in WWF history at that point and the biggest star outside of Vince McMahon's organization during the same time period, Ric Flair. Hogan defeated Flair in the main event to win the WCW World Heavyweight Championship with Mr. T and Orlando Magic superstar Shaquille O'Neal in his corner. The event would set the record for the most purchased WCW pay-per-view to that point, with 225,000 homes purchasing the event. Today's standards, that's a very low number.
That's
But
low. Like you'd be surprised, like what the numbers look like now.
right. I mean, I was watching the new OSW review. They did Royal Rumble 2005, and they said that pay per view had 575,000 at that point, which was the largest number for the Rumble at that point.
Hell, AEW scratched, they patting themselves on the back this time around because of the views that they got for Texas on it. And I think it barely was able to get towards 200K. I'm like, really? Okay. I thought it would have probably been more.
I mean, also, too, talk about Hogan and Flair, two of the biggest names in wrestling. I mean, this was, for WCW, yes, first time ever, but they definitely had a few house show matches in WWE that nobody knows about.
Yeah, but even still, like, I think by this time when it happened, although it was, big and everybody was excited for it, technically you still looking at two old men, like,
right. It's not like how they were in 2010 when they faced off again, but it was like a few years younger in '94.
Right.
And of course, we talked about in the last episode with athletes in wrestling. Shaquille O'Neal, probably fresh from first season or from the draft. Hey, come to WCW from the South and fucking come to our pay per view. I think he revealed too when Shaq went to the event, like they broke kayfabe on him because he thought it was real.
Yeah, the big Shakalicious, the big Aristotle, though WCW was real.
Next up, 2004, Doug Williams defeated Alex Shelley to win the vacant ROH Pure Championship in the final of a one-night tournament in Elizabeth, New Jersey. The belt was vacated when TNA barred all their talent from appearing. Barred all their talent from appearing on ROH due to then ROH owner Rob Feinstein being caught on camera grooming an underage boy. Oh Jesus! This prevented champion AJ Styles from fulfilling his obligation to defend the title.
The crazy thing is that fucking douche is still around. He still shows his face.
That's horrible.
Yeah, we've seen him at indie shows, and I'm like, yo, this guy got some balls.
Like I knew about the whole ROH and TNA early on where they weren't friendly because I think I heard a story that like CM Punk was talking to the boys about how like we're gonna stick up for Ring of Honor and we're all gonna be at the next show. And meanwhile, they all left and went to TNA taping the next day. And they didn't give them notice or nothing. But
right,
that's just one of those things. I mean, aside from ignoring the Rob Feinstein thing, like could TNA and ROH could have worked or kept working together in a peaceful way after that?
No, because
Joe had his runs. Like had his big run until he signed.
Yeah, but that's why he left. He's like, I'm done with it. ROH at that time, although it was different, it was fun. They were still struggling because they were still trying to find a way to get to broader audiences, and they just couldn't. At that time, the management wasn't there for them. That was to be a company for wrestlers. Because they were still trying to match their own. They were the little company that couldn't.
Who was the owner?
Rob was there early on,
and it was Gabe, right? Was Gabe just the booker?
Yeah, Gabe. I believe Gabe was doing he was running the book at the time, and I think later on that's when Delirious came in. The company actually got better when Delirious got there. And then Cornette went there as well.
Next up, you got it. Oh, you definitely got you handle this next one.
Oh, okay. Um, on 2011, WWE held one of their most acclaimed pay-per-view events of all time when Money in the Bank 2011 took place at the All-State Arena in Chicago, Illinois. The event was heavily built on CM Punk challenging John Cena for the WWE Championship in Punk's hometown of Chicago. Weeks earlier, Punk had dropped his famous pipe bomb promo on Raw and announced that his WWE contract expired the day after Money in the Bank, and he would be leaving the company whether he won the belt or not. The atmosphere for the match was amongst the best in WWE history and ended with Punk overcoming interference from Vince McMahon and John Laurinaitis to defeat Cena and claim the title in a classic match. After the match, Alberto Del Rio, who had won the Money in the Bank briefcase earlier that night, tried to cash in his contract and win back the title, but Punk thwarted him and left through the adoring crowd with the championship in one of WWE's most enduring pay-per-view moments. I have to tell you, when that at this time WWE was on such a low, like it was but for them to allow Punk to bring in the Summer of Punk idea to them, I didn't believe that they were going to do it. I just couldn't see it happen
Because this is the thing that did Ring of Honor years ago.
Right. And I just couldn't see Vince allowing that to happen. And
Right.
I remember me saying, I was like, they're not going to allow him to do it. It's Cena's going to retain, and that's it.
Well, let me ask you, when he announced the date, were you one of those fans that doesn't believe it, or were you kind of, because I know how you are, because you're like, oh, this is work, this is storyline,
right?
Like, were you like that with this?
No, there was already rumblings of it, and we had already known that he was, Punk wasn't happy what was going on at that time. I believe the whole thing with Heyman was not happening and such. So, he just wanted to go away. He didn't want to deal with it. He just wanted time off of wrestling. But
I know he was openly frustrated with the whole. Like, he wasn't mad at the Miz, but he was kind of like why him, why not me?
Right.
Like, he definitely had that feeling against him, where because I mean, his positioning on the show was very awkward. Where top heel on SmackDown, then goes to Raw, Cena, and then it's like, because maybe you could have done Cena and Punk that year. You definitely should have done at 27. That should have been where you do it, but then when by July hits and he announces when his contract is over with. And then he crossed his legs on the stage, cuts that promo, and then it was pretty much, it went off the rails where you pretty much didn't know where it was going to go the following week.
I thought it, and then once we saw it happen, the pipe bomb occurs, we see the build up, and he wins. I thought everything tied up in a bow perfectly. Especially with Alberto trying to cash in and he leaves, blows the kiss. I thought it was perfect. It was so fucking perfect.
It was funny because I remember Vince was like come up, bring out whoever the real, get him out here.
Yeah, right.
Vince was so flustered. Who the fuck? Who has the briefcase? Tell him to come out here.
Bring him out. Bring him out now. Bring him out.
But then I think it definitely sucked looking back on it, and definitely at that time where he was gone for maybe a week, and then he came back. They gave him cult of personality that made the say this theme song even today.
Right.
But a week. That's what kind of still.
Yeah.
Still, I hate to this day because then you had the photo where he did put the title in his fridge.
In the fridge, yeah.
But then because he teased Ring of Honor and New Japan. It would have been interesting if he I knew this was not going to happen, but if you try to go to TNA, at least he's going away. Have a picture of him with a ticket about to go to the Impact Zone,
doing a tour with it.
Right,
he took it everywhere else, everywhere where he everywhere we didn't want him to go. He went to Chicago Cubs games and shit like that. Like,
Right.
uh,
Because the whole run was like it hurt Rey Mysterio too. Because remember he won the title in the finals, and then John Cena was like, "I want my title back," and then he beat Rey in the main event for it.
all right,
And then like, in this weird, the real thing, Kevin Nash popped his head up. Triple H was involved. Like the whole summer Punk turned into the summer of shit.
yeah, but
And then it didn't get his moment till November.
yeah, well, that's when he returned, right?
Well, that's when he won the belt from the
Oh, when
Del
the when the,
Rio, and
when,
then
when the
that
belt,
started
yeah,
the reign.
right,
But yeah, I mean, it's always one of those like class. It's always a classic. Like, if you could rebook it, how would you do it? And there's so many different ideas people come up with. Where I think it's just pretty much have a month without Punk, or however how long. Maybe he comes back or something. I mean,
yeah,
so many different ideas.
yeah.
Um, Next up, July 18th, 1999. ECW presented Heatwave 99 from the Hera Arena. Okay, in Dayton, Ohio, it was ECW's most watched ever pay per view, with the sole title change seeing Balls Mahoney and Spike Dudley defeating the Dudley Boys of Devon and Bubba Ray Dudley to win the ECW World Tag Team titles ahead of the losing team leaving for WWE. In the main event, Rob Van Dam teamed with his recent rival Jerry Lynn to defeat the Impact players of Lance Storm and Justin Incredible. Isn't this also the heat wave when Bubba went off on the crowd?
I think so as well. Yeah,
Where we got a mother who taught her daughter how to suck dick.
yeah, yeah.
I mean, I remember when the Dudley Boys popped up on the screen for WWE, but we're not watching ECW. Did you watch ECW back in the day?
Yeah, yeah.
What was your initial reaction when there was announced they were the next to leave? Does it mean like it was like a revolving door for ECW guys to leave? Or did
Um,
you ever think the Dudleys were next?
no, no. I like I said with the guys that they had on there. Well, maybe I would have, but thinking back on it, maybe I would have, but not really, because they still had guys on that roster that, Rob would have been one for me that I thought would have left. Taz would have been one for me that I thought would left.
Mm-hmm.
But it wasn't until later on that you learned of the loyalty that they had to Heyman. That's why they stuck around for as long as they did. But I thought yeah, it would be a better fit. They would probably be the most tamer out of the bunch to go over there. As much as how wild and fucking reckless Bubba's mouth was, he knew where the money was going to be at, and he knew what was going to happen when he got over there.
Wow. Next up in 2021, WWE held their first pay per view in front of fans for 18 months with Money in the Bank at the Dickies Arena. I'm the one just get like with the weird arena.
Yeah, you got the good names.
Dickies Arena in Fort Worth, Texas, with the full arena of fans not allowed into the arena for the first time since the start of the COVID-19 pandemic. The main event saw Roman Reigns defeat Edge to retain the WWE Universal Championship. After the match, John Cena made his first WWE appearance since WrestleMania in April 2020 as he came out to confront Reigns. The only title change of the night saw Charlotte Flair defeat Rhea Ripley for the Raw Women's title. Nikki ASH and Big E were the winners of the women's and men's Money in the Bank ladder matches, respectively. And there's another reason for this. This is another historic event where Jay saw a very unpleasant side of my allergies, where my face blew up.
Yeah.
But
That
other than that,
is. Oh, the hell! You all right?
yeah, I definitely remember you looking over. Where it was like you were having like a conversation, like, "Oh my god!"
That's exactly what happened. It was just like, oh, the hell!
My eyes were bad. But
Wait, I'm gonna try to see if I find there's a. You remind me of a character in this movie, Martin Sheen, Martin Short and Good in this movie called Pure Luck, and he gets stung by bees. And I'll show you.
at least
But
it's not. At least it wasn't the other thing I was thinking of, where it was like it's the character with the big head that gets made fun of, or by
oh, you
everybody.
talking about Mask?
Yes.
Oh, I'm gonna show you right now. This is I Yeah, it was startling. That's exactly what it was. That's the only word I could come up with. It was startling. Yeah, here he goes. Because I was like, "You sure you're gonna be?" And shout out to my boy AJ. I'm talking about my dog, not
Yeah,
brother AJ. My dog.
miss it, but my
Yeah,
God,
yeah. Was it not for him, this occurrence may have never had happened.
scared the shit out of you.
How do you how you dealing with it these days?
I mean, you saw yesterday. It was perfect because fucking Ben was the one sneezing his ass off in the car.
Right. But does that
But
happen often? Like,
not anymore. It's definitely calmed down.
oh, okay.
But back to this. I mean, we knew at that time where this is the first live pay per view in front of a crowd again. They had to pull out all the stops and John Cena coming back. Just the explosion, yeah, motherfucker.
It was like that. I was like, what the fuck? Whoa.
It was that, but my eyes were closed. I couldn't see shit. But I mean, yeah, John Cena making his big return. Remember Nikki Ash? Like, thank God that doesn't exist anymore.
Oh, my
Come
my
on, Rick
my,
J.
my superhero. Oh,
It was a
like,
nice idea, but looking back on it, it was like, oh,
well, at least that was her idea.
yeah.
Yeah, she came up with it.
She had a run that year,
Yeah, she did.
and then she barely gets on TV nowadays, which I don't know. That's a different discussion for a different day.
Next up.
You got it.
Oh, really? Really?
I
Uh,
didn't even read it, so I was wondering what it is.
uh, oh yeah.
Oh,
Wait, I'm lost. Hold on.
July 19th.
Oh, okay. 2016.
Yep.
WWE marked the reintroduction of their brand split as they once again divided their roster between Raw and SmackDown on the premiere of SmackDown as a live rather than tape show in Worcestershire, Massachusetts. The top picks were Seth Rollins for the Raw in the top spot and the WWE champion Dean Ambrose to SmackDown in the second spot. The highest drafted woman was the WWE Women's Champion Charlotte Flair, who was drafted third overall to Raw. The highest placed NXT talent was Finn Balor, who was taken by Raw at the fifth overall pick. I put this on because I know how much you are such a fan of the brand split.
Yeah, but also this one reminds me of the one the TikTok or reel you sent us the other day, where somebody gave like was like was it like a hard fact that if Finn Balor didn't get hurt, he would have had the Cody push back then.
Right, right.
And I was thinking about it. I think I said it that day too, but I fully believe that because
Yeah.
if you think about Finn's push back then, it was a push that none of us really saw, like or thought like. But there's a reason for this because
Yeah.
he would win all the time, and they couldn't wait to get his ass on the main roster. But one bad buckle bomb and he gets fucked over.
Yeah. When's their universal title? Then gone. Then it's gone.
I mean, it would be interesting to see how far he would go going up to Mania that year. But I mean, I don't know what it is, but was it definitely like how dare you type push? Like we were gonna give you the world, and now you're just gonna be on the roster. We'll give you some moments, but fuck, we're never gonna trust you
I
again.
remember
Type of
people
thing.
started labeling him the next Dolph Ziggler.
Oh right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. And
Next
Dolph,
up.
and Dolph Ziggler was still on the fucking roster.
It's still on the roster. In 2020, WWE taped the ring portion of the horror show at Extreme Rules pay-per-view, considered the worst major event of WWE's period without fans in attendance. The show was headlined by Drew McIntyre defeating Dolph Ziggler to retain the WWE Championship in an Extreme Rules match.
Also had one of the worst cinematic matches at that time, where it was the swamp fight,
Yep. Ugh.
where they had the lights go out with the lights on in the day.
I'm telling you, Vince wanted so much to be in movies. It just
But he had his own movie company. You didn't need to do it here.
Yeah, how many were great? Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, the Marine was still the best.
Yeah. Then, sorry, the Chaperone was awesome.
And nobody's ever saying that. I think they're missing a few words where it was awesomely bad, or or,
Knuckleheads,
or hilariously bad.
knuckleheads, or see
But
no evil.
and the first scene of Evil wasn't bad. It's just that
Right.
the Knuckleheads are Big Show. Big Show is genuinely funny, but forced comedy, no,
Yeah.
not good. Next up, WWE. This is the next night, isn't it? The WWE held their first edition of Raw in front of fans since the start of the COVID-19 pandemic at the American Airlines Arena. Okay, here this is a real arena name. In Dallas, Texas, the show saw Nikki ASH cash in the Money in the Bank briefcase she had won the night prior to win the Raw Women's Championship from Charlotte Flair. Other notable events on the night saw John Cena and Keith Lee make their long-awaited returns to the program. And then NXT champion Karrion Kross made his main roster debut in a disappointing loss
Oof.
to Jeff Hardy. And we and
Woof.
we met and talked to Cross about this, and he went into more detail how he knew the writing on the wall. He was like, this was like bullshit from the word
Oof.
go.
That was terrible.
Yeah.
One of those moments in time. I wish I could take a hanger and just stick it in my nose so I could scrape it from my brain.
Jesus. I mean, and the thing was, like, it was very exciting because the crowds were hot, but they were hot for this bullshit.
Right.
I mean, the casting was fine, but other than that, I think John Cena and Riddle had a stare down too, where they all just repeated bro to each other. And this was the end of Keith Lee's career, pretty much, on this moment. And then they changed his name to Bearcat.
Right. Then became Bearcat Lee. Good job over there, WWE.
I had a friend joke with me saying that now that Adam Cole's retired, he could finally be Keith Lee's manager. I was like, you're fucked up. And the last one, July 20th, 2020, on an episode of Raw taped at the WWE Performance Center. Jay, stop picking the bad, sad ones. Orlando, Florida. Randy Orton defeated the Big Show in an unsanctioned match. That was to be Show's last match in WWE. He left the company in early 2021 to sign with AEW. He had been with WWE since 1999 at the same taping, but filled for the following episode. Sasha Banks defeated Asuka to win the Raw Women's Championship. As per the stipulations of the match that allowed it, the title changed hands via a count out. Yeah, just another one of those bullshit pandemic finishes, but
Yeah.
Big Show, I think he did a match in AEW, right? Against
Yeah.
QT Marshall.
Yeah.
Yeah, so and then I know I think he did the Jericho Cruise match as well.
Right. He just looks out of it as well. Like he looks.
Do you think he's happy where he is, or do you think he's wanting to come back to WWE?
I think it's all about a check, bro. Everybody's just getting a check.
Mm.
That's all that matters with everybody nowadays.
Because I mean, if the Big Show was back in WWE, Triple H would treat him better than the way Vince treated him before.
You would think. I mean, but what is he gonna do?
I mean, just be treated better as a legend, not just as a joke.
Yeah, I
Because I
guess.
think that was a lot of the Legends' problems. That's why we saw so many Legends sign with AEW. And
Does
Mark
he
Henry,
does he get a Hall of Fame speech?
I mean, everybody goes in the Hall of Fame one day, so eventually the Big Show will go in.
All right.
But that's it for this episode of History and Headlocks, Jay. Once again, thank you for joining me. And maybe we'll let you. We'll see how Ari feels for the next one. But I might need you again, or you might need to stay around. But until then, enjoy your vacation, sir.
Thank you.
Enjoy 3 weeks of nice pleasantries, or whatever the hell you plan on doing.
Well, I'm just a week gone, and I'll be back and enjoying another week back at home. But still, in all, I'll be thinking of my time out there in the warm, sandy beaches and going. I wonder what's happening on Raw right now.
Bullshit. If that's the case, you're a true sick wrestling fan.
I might have to watch it in Espanol when I go over there.
Hey.
Welcome and aplauso de WWE. But as always, guys, make sure you check us out on all the podcasting outlets for Turnbuckle Tabloid. Available out soon. Next episode will be out right before I leave. And always be sure you check out us on New York Wrestle Media, content, shows, all things that are crack-a-lacking in the world of wrestling. We gonna do a Under the Ring apron. We're gonna review our boy Ray Sanchez's his first foray into independent wrestling, his own promotion, Respect the Craft. Had their show, and Mike and I was there, and we'll do a brief coverage of that. So make sure you guys stick around and look out for that as well.
Absolutely, and like and comment and subscribe on NY Wrestling Media for more stuff like History of Headlocks, They're an After Table, Under the Ring Apron, a lot of content to enjoy on this channel. And Jay, once again, thank you for stopping by, and until next time, it's not what you do in today, it's all that matters what you make out of it tomorrow.
Beautifully put.
And that's history for you, everybody.
Check you guys later. Sit, turn type, sit. Good boy. Ruff.